Hello, it's Z from the Wedding Business Academy. A little while ago, I shared my simple price calculator for Etsy. It is basically a simplified version of the same one I used when I used to have a shop and I was selling on Etsy. I used to have a luxury wedding stationery shop, as you can see in the picture here. And I used a simple spreadsheet to make sure that I was actually accounting for all the costs involved in producing each one of my products, and that I took into account all of Etsy's fees, because there's quite a few fees you need to take into account, like the listing fees, the commission Etsy takes on every sales, the direct checkout fees, any PayPal fees if you're actually taking payment by PayPal. And it's to make sure you actually know what those fees are and you're not leaving yourself short and you still make a profit on your sale. Because you might be selling an item for £10 and thinking it cost me £5, so I'm going to make a £5 profit. But not if you sell on Etsy, you don't. You actually make less profit because you need to pay all those fees as well. So let's go. Here is the spreadsheet that I use. It is very simple. On top here, there's a link to my free Facebook group. So if you sell wedding items and your customers are brides and grooms planning a wedding, do join the group because I always share little tips and tricks and little training like that as well. So it will be helpful and handy. And here is a link to the blog post for more explanation. It's a link to the blog post where I talk about this price calculator. There are some screenshots and this video is going on there as well. So basically here it is. There are a few tabs and the first tab is for instruction and example. So this is the example. This is what you will see in the first tab. So do not, no, that's not the first tab. Apologies. This is the first tab. So here's the example. It's pre-filled for you to give you an idea. Do not erase this and actually use this first page. Leave it as is so you can come back for referencing and add more tabs and copy the spreadsheets along when you need it. So here, let's go quickly. So basically here, wherever you see a little red dot in a corner of a cell, you just hover over it and it's going to give you a little explanation of what it is. Here it's materials. So basically it's the materials you actually use to make your product. Here it's quantity used. How much of that material did you use? The first one is cardstock, A4 cardstock. So I use 3 sheets of A4 cardstock to make this particular invitation. And this is a cost per unit. So how much per unit of material did that cost you? So 1 sheet of A4 cardstock cost me 20 pence, so I use 3. And my total cost for this particular material is 60 pence. And again, there's a ribbon and envelope and other bits that I use to make invitations. Yours will probably be different unless you're a paper crafter too. And here, the first example, as it stays above here, it's where labor is calculated as material. So I've added the labor cost to produce this particular invitation as a materials, just to make sure I actually account for my labor. And I spent 15 minutes making this invitation and I want to pay myself £7.20 per hour, which is the current minimum wage for the UK, I believe. And this is a labor cost. So this is a total cost of material and labor used to make this invitation. So this invitation cost me £4.38 to make. Now we move on to the selling price. So selling price is basically how much you sell your product for. There are a lot of selling price formula. There are a lot. If you have a Google around, if you Google it, you probably will come across this particular formula because it is the easiest one and most common one. It's where you take your selling price is equal to your cost times 2. So the cost of producing this product times 2 gives you a selling price. It's just to make sure you're actually making some profit on top of that. But because I had a low cost product, wedding invitation, and so I basically need to sell in volumes. for wedding invitation, I can't really charge £8.75 per invitation. It's a lot, especially when people need around 90 or a couple of hundred of invitation. It's a lot to actually charge. I'm going to price myself out of the market if I use this pricing, and that's before any of Etsy's fees are added. So that's why I've also used these two formulas here, where the selling price is equal to cost times 1.5 and selling price is equal to cost times 1.25. And this gives you the selling price, and here you start adding the Etsy fees. So if you've been on Etsy for a little while, you probably know that Etsy charges you 20 cents. Etsy charges in US dollars, so it's 20 cents to list an item. And if you sell this item, Etsy charges you a commission of 3.5% of your selling price. So if you think let's go back to that product that cost you £5 to sell and you sell it at £10, you're not making £5 profit on it. You need to pay Etsy's fees, so you're making less than £5. And here, automatically, this spreadsheet calculates how much you should be selling your product to account for these fees. So if I was to use this formula of selling price is equal to cost times 2, I should, like here, I should be selling my product at 9.26. And if I use this formula where selling price is equal to cost times 1.5, I should be selling my product at $6.99. And again here, it's a different price. So as you can see, $5.86 is a much more realistic price to sell an invitation at than $9.26, for me anyway. And here, this section accounts for Etsy's fees, Etsy's listing fees, the commission, and the PayPal fees. If you sell on Etsy, there are two ways you can get paid. The first one is by using Etsy's direct checkout. So that's Etsy's own payment processing system. Or you can get paid via PayPal, where PayPal charges you as well for processing your payment. So, yep, there's more fees added. And here it does all the calculation for you. It adds the fees on top of your selling price. So if you were going to use PayPal checkout to process your payment on Etsy, you should be selling your product at one of these prices, depending on which pricing formula you use. And here, if you are using Etsy's direct checkout to process your payment, you should be selling your product at one of these prices to account for the direct checkout fees on top of the listing and commission on sales. So as you can see, Etsy's direct checkout is only a little bit dearer than using PayPal. And what I would do in this instance is I would price my product at the dearer price and have both options available for payment. So I will not lose out money. And if somebody chooses to pay by PayPal, I'll actually make a little bit more. And here, the last one is a calculation that includes PayPal fees only on top of your selling price. So let's say you just want to send an invoice to your customer, a PayPal invoice to your customer, and you don't need to account for all of these Etsy fees. And you can just send them an invoice at one of these prices. But I will point out that the best practice is to actually keep a consistent pricing for your product across all your platform. So when I was selling my wedding stationery, Etsy was the highest cost platform for me because of all these fees. And because my own website, I use PayPal, so the cost was less. But I would price my products at the dearest price. So I had, whether somebody bought on Etsy or on my website, it was a consistent price. But again, this is a choice and it's entirely up to you. And the next example 2, we still use the same product, but we use labor as an added cost to your total selling price. So it is not included in your materials. It is included after. your materials. So here again, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same sales formula. Selling price is equal to cost times 2, cost times 1.5, and cost times 1.25. And so before adding your labor costs, these are the prices you should be selling at. And when you add your Etsy fee only, this is the prices. And again, Etsy plus PayPal fees and Etsy plus direct checkout fees and PayPal fees only, it gives you these. So basically, without your labor cost, which is down the bottom here, this is the price you should be selling at. But if you want to pay yourself, you kind of need to add your labor cost because you really want to get paid, don't you? It's not business otherwise. So after your labor cost is added to this selling price, each of these, this is the selling price you end up with. Okay, so depending on what business you're in, you might be deciding to add your labor cost as part of your material calculation, or after. You can add your labor cost to your total selling price instead, like here. And again, you have a choice of using a formula of selling price is equal to cost times 2, or cost times 1.5, or cost times 1.25. If there's something else you want to try, you can always tweak the formula. Always copy this tab and edit a different tab, so you keep this tab as the example, so you don't mess it up, just in case you need to refer back to it. So basically, here you go. You've got a good idea of what you can be pricing your product as on Etsy, and it allows you to actually account for all these Etsy fees and PayPal fees, so you're not leaving yourself short, and you're actually paying yourself as well as making a profit when you sell on Etsy. So this is the first tab. It's the instruction and the example tab. There's 3 more tabs. Of course, as you go along, you can add more tabs. I'll show you how to do that in a minute, actually, just in case you don't know. So this is a second tab. Basically, it's blank, as you can see. So you will enter in your material 1, and quantity used. So let's say we use 2 of material 1, and it costs £5. And I didn't. So if the formula is missing here in your spreadsheet, just like it is here, all you need to do is type equal and then click on this one and add the little asterisk sign and click on this one. So this is actually a multiplication formula. So this one times this one is equal to your cost of material used. And just to fill in the formula into the remaining cells, what you do is you move your cursor here until it's a little cross, click and drag, and click enter. So basically it's fill it in. So if you enter, let's say I use five materials at £10 each, and click enter, it gives me £50. So it does the calculation for you. That's what's great about spreadsheets. And as you can see, if your cost of production was £60 without your labor hour, and you add 2 hours of labor at £10 an hour, so that gives you £20. It does all the workouts for you. So if you were using this formula of selling price is equal to cost by 2, it's the green prices you need to look at, and that's including your Etsy fees, including your Etsy and PayPal fees, and so on. Now, if we were to do the same down the bottom here, where your labor is added to your total selling price, and let's delete that, and material 1, so we use the same figure, so we use 2, and it's a £5, and here material 2 we use 5, it's at £10, and labor you use 2 hours of labor at £10. Okay, so you can now see the difference Yeah, there is no. Okay, the formula is missing here as well, again, as we did early on. So equal to this times this. Enter. And you will drag the formula down and click enter. So it adds it up for us. So here we can drag it up to here, so it can equal to here times here. So I'm not sure whether this is blank in the one you downloaded. If it is, my apologies, but this is how you actually rectify it. And let's just save this. So here we go. So it populates, if you were adding your labor costs to your total selling price, your price to sell this product is actually a bit less, but you still, as you can see, you're still getting paid your £20. So it really depends on what type of business model you have, and whether really you can get away charging, let's say, what will it be? If you sell by direct checkout, which is the dearest price, so whether you can get away charging 172 for your product or 149. So it's entirely your choice. But here it is. Here I'm going to show you quickly how to save your workings, just in case you're not familiar with a spreadsheet. Move that up. So whenever you've made any changes and you need to save it, click on the little save, the little floppy disk up there that says save when you hover over it. So you save, or you can click Control plus S on your keyboard to save as well. That's a shortcut. Or you can go File, Save, which saves it directly as is, exactly where it is. Or if you want to save it in a different location, so you will click File, Save As, and then you can browse to see where you want to actually save whatever you want. So there you go. And let's move this towards the bottom so I can show you how to add a tab. So here's the first tab where the instructions are. This is a product name, so basically you can double click really quickly and you can change it to be whatever product you want. 1 or 2 or whatever name of a product. It could be a particular name of invitations. That's what I usually do because I name my invitations. And to copy this tab, so basically all you do is you right click on it and move all copy and create copy. Okay. So what it's done is, see, this is the original tab and this one's got a little 2 next to it. That's the copy of the first tab. So again, you double click really quickly and you name it whatever you want. So ideally you want to name it the same as your product, like product A, or if you're making, I don't know, ring of a particular design or a dress of a particular design, that's what you should be doing. And have one of these tabs. It's good practice to keep one tab per product so you don't get confused. Because when I started, I used to just copy the sales and just copy it down there and keep going and keep going. And it was really hard to actually scroll back up and trying to find one product. That way it's much easier. So here it is. If you have any questions and if you are in the Facebook group, give me a shout and tag me. I'll get back to you, or you can comment on this video. I'm going to post it on Facebook as well, or get in touch with me. No, it doesn't matter how you do it, just get in touch with me. I will always reply to you. It might take me a few days if I'm very busy, but I'm happy to help. So here it is. I hope you can use this pricing calculator to make your life much easier and to make sure you actually pay yourself and you take into account all these fees. So you're not left thinking you're making more profit than you actually are. And God forbid you're actually making a loss. So here it is. It is totally free. Download and use and let me know how you get on. I shall catch you later. Bye bye. As I forgot to say, if you are actually a wedding vendor and you sell items for weddings, please join my newsletter or join the group so you can actually keep up to date with any new training or any new freebies that I have. And also check out my website. There's a blog full of articles that may be helpful to you as well. So keep in touch. I shall catch you later. Bye bye.